Hi, everyone. My name is Brittany, and I am the host of Kapella Industry Insights podcast. And today we have a very, very special guest, CEO of Kapella Group and Global Construction. And today we are going to talk about why you should use a general contractor to manage your CapEx projects. So Dennis, I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and I just want to get your perspective of this because you have years and years of experience in this industry, and I think it's going to be crucial that we share that with our audience. I want to talk about first what goes into a CapEx project. Like, what exactly is that?
Well, CapEx projects are capital expenditure. It's just short for that capital expenditure word. Usually, those are bigger projects. Depends on the facility type. They have different needs. Usually, whatever investor is buying a property, they look into either update it, and CapEx usually considered a larger portion of that updates. It can be asphalt updates, can be seal coating, striping it. It can be exterior siding, roofing. It can be interior updates like flooring, painting, wallpaper. So larger projects are considered CapEx.
Okay. And when it comes to managing that, I'm sure there's a lot of different key components that go into that. But for example, like licensing and insurance, what are kind of the pros of the pros and the cons, I guess, more of the pros, but using a general contractor when it comes to the licensing and the insurance, what goes into that?
Sure. So if you're an owner, let's say you're buying a property, you're probably not going to have a license to pull a permit. So
Okay.
depending on the project type, sometimes you're required to pull a permits. A lot of times it's either structural work or larger scope that has to be permitted, electrical, plumbing, HVAC. Most of the trades has to be permitted. A lot of times general contractor pulls their main permit and trades attach their permits to the main permit as well. So if you buying a property as the owner, you can't technically pull a permit. It's not a residential environment, so if it is a commercial property, you have to get a general contractor to pull the permit for you.
Okay.
Now, if it's a legit general contractor firm that will have proper insurances like liability, workers' comp, you want to make sure you have that in place as well. Incidents and accidents happen,
Right.
So let's say you work on a project, your roof collapses. Well, you want to make sure that's covered.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that the coverage and coverage is proper as well. That if something happens, you don't have lawsuits and you're safe.
Okay. And speaking of lawsuits and whatnot, what exactly goes into like the lawsuits, the legal liens, and I mean how complex is that?
Construction process is pretty complex. You have a lot of human relationship. You have a lot of legal aspects that you have to deal with, like on a daily basis. You need to make sure everybody's paid properly, everybody's filling out the proper paperwork. We as general contractors want to make sure we cover our back and our clients as well.
Right.
So before we make any payments, we make sure that all of the lien waivers are signed by the contractors and all the parties involved. We make sure we set the proper expectation with vendors, suppliers, our team, our subcontractors. And it's a daily effort to make sure the ownership group is protected from a legal aspects on daily basis. Workers' comp is part of that as well, right? If somebody gets injured on a job and the contractor doesn't have a coverage to cover that, ownership group is going to get sued. going
makes
back
sense.
to insurance. So it's very important to make sure all those things are in place.
Okay. We are taking all the risk and we are completely taking it off their hands so that way they have minimized stress. And we put all that on us. That way we can make sure that they pretty much give us the vision and we bring it to pass for them. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. So whenever we start working with I'll use us as an example as a general contractor. So whenever we started to work on the project with a client, we need a vision, what they're trying to achieve, their goals. We're trying to understand what their goals for the property, what the long-term, short-term goals are, so we can kind of guide them in an aspect of, here's where you can spend some money and get your ROI on it. Here's where you can save some money. So yes, we've taken the headache of just basically implementing the whole project from A to Z. And part of that is having a good understanding what their end goal is.
Right.
Now, in between, there's a huge gap that needs to be filled, right? From pre-construction, planning, scheduling, coordinating, daily issues that come up on daily basis.
Right.
So we have a lot of staff that involved, from project superintendents, foremen, project managers, coordinators, senior project managers. There's a lot of support that goes into the project. Obviously, it depends on the scope of the project as well. If it is a pretty small project, you can get away with using a handyman, right? If you just install a couple windows, that can be implemented. Now, if it is a CapEx project like we're discussing today, that requires a lot more support, a lot more experience, licensing, insurance, relationship with the contractors, vendors. A lot of times we have, as general contractor, we need to pull some favors, right? We build a relationship with our subs or suppliers over the years. So sometimes things happen, things change. We have to reach out to our suppliers and ask them to help us out, make sure we don't go over budget, stay on schedule. As you know, and I'm pretty sure a lot of our audience knows, most of the projects that you work on, you have three main aspects: budgets, quality, schedule.
Okay.
And you can talk about those three for hours, but it's very important to make sure you have the right general contractor who can cover all three.
Okay. And as a company, with Kapella Group Global Construction, how have we really honed in on doing that and getting the right people in place and making sure that we're proficient in what we're doing and we're able to meet our end goals?
It's an ongoing training. It's a daily effort. It's a daily routine where you have to try to figure out and adjust. We have our process. We have our people in places. We have a process from pre-construction, coordination, project management, implementation, all of that. But as market fluctuates, we kind of have to adjust that. And good thing about our company specifically, we have talented people who are able to adjust within a very short period of time.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, that's really the main questions I had, but we definitely appreciate you coming on set with us and giving us your knowledge, your wisdom. Like I said, I know you have years of experience, and we just appreciate your time. We hope that you'll be back on with us.
100%. Thank you.